This is the story of a 17-year-old girl who learned that lesson the hard way. A girl who sat behind a folding table on a cold street corner, selling pieces of her soul on canvas, hoping that strangers would pay enough to keep her parents from losing everything. A girl who was dying, but not from the cancer eating away at her blood. She was dying from the weight of love, from watching her parents whisper about second mortgages in the kitchen at night, from knowing that saving her life meant destroying theirs. Let me tell you about a girl named Lily. She was 17 years old, living in a small town called Riverside in Oregon, where everyone knew everyone, and autumn leaves painted the streets gold every October. Lily had always been the kind of person who noticed things. The way morning light hit her bedroom window. The sound rain made against the roof at night. The exact shade of blue the sky turned right before sunset. She painted these moments, captured them on canvas like they were secrets worth keeping. But this story isn't about the art she made. Not really. It's about what happened when everything fell apart, and all she had left were those paintings and a choice. It started 6 months before the art stand ever existed. Emma had been feeling tired. Not the normal kind of tired that sleep could fix. This was different. Deeper. Like her body was slowly forgetting how to work right. Her parents noticed first. Her mother, Sarah, who worked double shifts at the diner on Main Street. Her father, Robert, who fixed cars in their garage and always had grease under his fingernails. They took her to the clinic in town. Then to the hospital in Portland. Then to specialists whose offices had too many diplomas on the walls and not enough warmth in their voices. The diagnosis came on a Tuesday. Leukemia. Aggressive. Treatable, but expensive. Very expensive. Lily remembered sitting in that sterile office, watching her parents' faces change. Her mother's hand gripped her father's so tight her knuckles went white. Her father nodded like he understood, but his eyes looked lost. The doctor talked about treatment plans and survival rates and insurance coverage. Lily heard words like chemotherapy and bone marrow and clinical trials. But what she really heard, what cut through everything else, was the number at the end. The out-of-pocket costs, even with insurance, would be over $200,000. Her father cleared his throat. "We'll figure it out," he said. His voice didn't shake, but Lily knew him well enough to hear what he wasn't saying. They drove home in silence. Lily sat in the back seat, watching the trees blur past her window, and felt something inside her break that had nothing to do with the cancer. That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay in her bed, in the room where she'd grown up, surrounded by paintings she'd made over the years. Dreams on canvas. Moments of beauty she tried to freeze in time. Through the thin walls of their small house, she heard her parents talking in the kitchen. They thought she was asleep. They thought she couldn't hear. "We can take out a second mortgage," her father said. "We're barely making the first one, Robert. Then I'll find another job. Work nights. Something. You're already working 60 hours a week. Then what do you want me to do, Sarah? She's our daughter. We can't just." Her mother's voice broke. "I know. I know. We'll figure it out. We have to." Lily pressed her face into her pillow and cried as quietly as she could. Not because she was afraid of dying. She was afraid of watching her parents destroy themselves trying to save her. Afraid of becoming the reason they lost their house, their savings, their future. She thought about her father's hands, calloused and worn from years of honest work. Her mother's tired eyes, the way she smiled even after the hardest shifts. They'd given her everything. Every opportunity. Every chance. And now she was going to take it all away. That's when she made a decision. A terrible, necessary decision that felt like the only choice she had. The next morning, Lily got out of bed early. She pulled every canvas she'd ever painted from under her bed, from her closet, from the corners of her room. 23 paintings in total. Some finished, some not. All of them pieces of her heart made visible. She lined them up against her bedroom wall and looked at them for the first time in months. There was the painting of Riverside's main street after a summer storm, puddles reflecting the old brick buildings. The one of her bedroom door half open, morning light spilling through. The wide Oregon sky swallowing a lone figure standing in an empty field. Each one was a memory. A moment. A piece of who she'd been before hospital waiting rooms became her life. Lily took a deep breath. Then she started researching. How to price original artwork. Where to sell locally. What people might actually buy. She found out about the Saturday market downtown, where local artists and vendors set up along River Street. It cost nothing to get a spot. You just showed up early with your table and your hope. That Friday night, she told her parents she was feeling better. That she wanted fresh air. That she'd be setting up an art stand the next morning, just for fun. Her mother looked concerned. "Honey, you need to rest." "I've been resting for weeks, Mom. I need to do something. Please." Her parents exchanged a look. Finally, her father nodded. "Okay. But if you feel tired, I'll come straight home. I promise." That night, Lily sat at her desk and wrote out a small sign in careful handwriting. Original artwork. Helping pay for medical treatment. She stared at those words for a long time. They felt like admitting defeat and choosing to fight all at the same time. When she finally turned off her light and lay down to sleep, she whispered into the darkness of her room words that no 17-year-old should have to say. "I won't let them lose everything because of me. I won't." The decision wasn't brave. It wasn't heroic. It was survival, wrapped in love, painted in desperation. And tomorrow, she would find out if it was enough. Saturday morning came cold and bright. Lily woke up before sunrise, her body aching in ways that had become familiar. She got dressed slowly, carefully, trying not to wake her parents. In the garage, she found her father's old folding table. One leg was shorter than the others, making it wobble. She took it anyway. Loaded her paintings into the back of their old pickup truck. Drove downtown in the gray pre-dawn light. River Street was already filling up with vendors when she arrived. People unloading handmade jewelry, fresh vegetables from local farms, pottery, wooden furniture. Everyone had something to sell. Everyone had their reasons. Lily found a spot near the corner, set up her wobbly table, and arranged her paintings carefully across it. She placed her sign at the front, those words she'd written the night before now visible to anyone who passed. Then she sat down on a low stool behind the table, folded her hands in her lap, and waited. The first people started arriving around 8. Families with children. Couples holding coffee cups. Older folks out for their morning walk. They moved through the market like a river, flowing around the vendors, stopping here and there. Some people glanced at Emma's paintings. Some glanced at her. Most kept walking. She noticed when people read her sign. There was always a pause. A softening in their expression. Then something else. Discomfort, maybe. Or pity. They'd smile, nod, and move on. By 10 o'clock, one person had stopped to ask about prices. By noon, she'd made one sale. $30 for a small landscape. The man who bought it said, "This is really good. You're talented." Lily thanked him. Wrapped the painting carefully. Watched him walk away. $30. That was 1/6% of what she needed. The math was impossible. She knew it was impossible. But she stayed anyway, because going home would mean admitting this wasn't working, and she wasn't ready to do that yet. As the afternoon wore on, Lily's body started arguing with her decision to be there. Her legs ached from sitting on the hard stool. Her chest felt heavy. When she stood up to adjust a painting, the street tilted sideways for a second before settling back into place. A woman stopped in front of her table around 2 o'clock. She was maybe 40, wearing a nice coat, looking at a painting of an empty street after rain. "This one feels heavy," the woman said softly. Lily nodded. "It's about waiting. About hoping something will change." "How much?" $80. The woman studied it for another moment. "I'll take it." As Lily wrapped the painting, her hands trembled. She focused on breathing slowly, evenly, until the shaking passed. When the woman walked away, Emma stared at the empty space on the table where the painting had been. She didn't feel relief. She felt permission. Permission to stay a little longer. To keep trying. The next Saturday, she came back. And the Saturday after that. By the 6th week, Lily was running on fumes. The chemotherapy had started. Some days were okay. Other days were brutal. Her hair had started falling out. She wore a knit cap her mother had made, soft blue wool that matched her eyes. People noticed. Some were kind about it. Others looked away, uncomfortable. "You should be resting," an older man told her on a particularly bad day. "I am resting," Lily replied, even though sitting upright felt like running a marathon. That day, nobody bought anything. Hours passed. People walked by. Some stopped, looked, moved on. The sun crawled across the sky. Lily's vision blurred at the edges. She found herself staring at one painting in particular. The one she'd made that first night, of a small figure standing alone under an endless Oregon sky. Looking up. Waiting for something. Anything. Lily lowered her head, resting her elbows on her knees. Her chest felt tight. Not from the cancer. From something worse. Hopelessness. "I tried," she whispered to herself. "I really tried." In 6 weeks, she'd made maybe $2,000. It was something. It helped. But it was a drop in an ocean, and she could feel herself drowning. For the first time since she'd started this, Lily wondered if she'd asked too much of herself. If this whole thing had been a beautiful, stupid mistake. She was so lost in that thought, so deep in her own defeat, that she almost didn't hear it. "Oh my God," someone whispered sharply nearby. "Is that Olivia Chen?" Lily's stomach dropped. She looked up, half convinced she'd heard wrong. But there she was. Olivia Chen. The artist whose paintings sold for millions at galleries in New York and Los Angeles. The woman who'd been featured in every art magazine, whose work hung in museums. Walking down River Street with 2 people who were clearly assistants or security. Not making a big show of it. Not drawing attention. Just walking, looking at the market vendors like anyone else might. Except she wasn't anyone else. And people were starting to notice. Lily watched as Olivia's pace changed when she got closer to the art stand. She didn't stop suddenly. She slowed. Her eyes moved across the paintings, not just scanning them, but actually looking. Really seeing them. And then Olivia's gaze landed on one painting in particular. The small figure under the wide sky. The one about waiting. Olivia gestured toward it. When she spoke, her voice was quieter than Lily expected. More normal. "Could I see that one?" Lily nodded. Her hands shook as she lifted the canvas. Up close, the brushstrokes were rough, uneven, more raw than polished. Olivia held the painting carefully. "You painted this recently?" "Yes," Lily said quietly. "A few weeks ago." Olivia nodded like that mattered. Like the timing meant something. And in that moment, standing on River Street in Riverside, Oregon, Lily felt something shift. Not hope, exactly. Not yet. But possibility. The security team moved closer, already handling the transaction with quiet efficiency. Lily barely registered what was happening. Her mind couldn't quite process that Olivia Chen was buying one of her paintings. As Lily wrapped the canvas with trembling hands, Olivia leaned in slightly. She lowered her voice so only Lily could hear. "I know days like this aren't easy," Olivia said. Her eyes were kind, but not pitying. Understanding, like she'd seen enough of the world to recognize struggle when it stood right in front of her. "But you're really talented. Don't stop painting, okay?" Lily swallowed hard. "Thank you," she managed to say. Olivia gave a small smile. Tired. Real. The kind of smile that said she knew exactly how much those two words couldn't quite express. "Take care of yourself," Olivia added. Then she straightened up as the crowd energy around them grew louder. People had started pulling out phones. Calling out her name. The moment was ending. Olivia took the wrapped painting and walked away with her team, disappearing into the growing crowd as quickly as she'd appeared. Lily sat back down on her stool. The market buzzed around her. People were talking, pointing, excited about the celebrity sighting. But Lily just stared at the empty space on her table where that painting used to be. Her hands were shaking again. Not from weakness this time. From disbelief. From the impossible reality of what had just happened. She packed up early that day. Drove home in a daze. Didn't tell her parents. She wasn't sure how to explain it, wasn't even sure if it meant anything beyond a kind gesture from someone who could afford to be kind. That night, Lily lay in bed and stared at her ceiling. She thought about Olivia stopping at her table. Looking at her art. Really seeing it. Seeing her. She fell asleep still thinking about it. The next morning, Lily's phone rang. Then it rang again. Then her email started filling up with messages. The first one was from a foundation. A charitable organization that helped young people with medical expenses. They'd heard about her situation. They wanted to talk. The second was from a medical coordinator at the hospital in Portland. They were calling to confirm some details. To arrange payment schedules. The third email was the one that made Lily's hands shake so hard she almost dropped her phone. Her treatment would be covered. All of it. Every test, every medication, every appointment. The foundation was taking care of everything. Lily sat down hard on the edge of her bed. She read the email 3 times. 4 times. Looking for the catch, the mistake, the part where it said, "Just kidding." But there was no catch. She stood up on shaking legs and walked to the kitchen where her mother was making breakfast. Her father was reading the newspaper, coffee cup in hand. "Mom. Dad." They looked up. Her mother's face immediately filled with concern. "What's wrong? Are you feeling okay?" "I'm covered," Lily said. The words came out strangled, thick with emotion. "My treatment. Someone's paying for it. All of it." The coffee cup slipped from her father's hand. It hit the table hard, spilling dark liquid across the wood. He didn't even notice. Her mother made a sound somewhere between a gasp and a sob. "What? How?" Lily told them about the foundation. The emails. The confirmation. She didn't mention Olivia Chen. That part felt too big, too unreal to put into words yet. Her father stood up and pulled Lily into his arms. His whole body was shaking. "Oh, thank God," he whispered into her hair. "Thank God." Her mother joined them, wrapping her arms around both of them. She was crying now, not loudly, but like something that had been crushing her chest had finally lifted. "I didn't know how we were going to save you," her mother said through tears. "I didn't know." "You don't have to," Lily whispered back. "It's okay now. We're okay." They stood there in the kitchen, holding each other, crying together. Relief flooding through all of them like light breaking through storm clouds. A week later, Lily walked back into the hospital in Portland. Same hallway. Same antiseptic smell. But her steps were steadier now. Her shoulders weren't carrying the weight of her parents' financial ruin. "We're taken care of," she told the billing department. Chemotherapy was still brutal. Some days Lily couldn't get out of bed. Some days the nausea won. Some days she stared at blank canvases and couldn't find the strength to pick up a brush. But some days, she forgot about the fear. Some days, she painted. She painted the sunrise over Riverside. The old bridge where she used to walk with her friends. Her mother's hands, worn and beautiful. Her father's smile. One warm afternoon in spring, Lily returned to River Street. Not to sell. Not to ask for anything. Just to sit and draw. She set up her wobbly table with fresh paper and charcoal pencils. People passed by. Some noticed her. Some didn't. And that was okay. Because Lily had learned something important on that impossible day when everything changed. The art stand had never been about being seen by everyone. It had been about being seen by the right person at the exact moment she needed it most. Olivia Chen had stopped at her table that day. Had bought a painting. Had spoken kind words. But more than that, she'd seen Lily. Really seen her. Not just as a sick girl trying to survive, but as an artist worth encouraging. Worth investing in. And somehow, in ways Lily still didn't fully understand, that moment had opened doors she didn't even know existed. As Lily sat drawing on River Street that spring afternoon, the sun warm on her face, her hair slowly growing back, she thought about that painting Olivia had bought. The small figure standing under the endless sky. She wasn't that figure anymore. She wasn't waiting alone in the dark. She was here. In the light. Still fighting. Still creating. Still alive. And for now, for today, that was enough.